For this particular review problem for Calc 1, we are going to look at the difference quotient. That's this f of a plus h minus f of a all over h, and it plays in a very important role in calculus. So being able to simplify these things is incredibly important. The particular function that we'll be looking at is f of x equals 4 plus 3x minus x squared. So we're going to start with the two pieces of the numerator of the difference quotient. First, we'll look at the f of a. And the way that function notation works here is anytime there's anything in that parentheses, it's going to replace where I see x in the original definition. So there's an x here and an x right there, and in both of those places I'll now put an a. So f of a will be equal to 4 plus 3a minus a squared. The other piece of that numerator is f of a plus h. It's going to work in the same way. Now that I have an a plus h inside the parentheses, that a plus h is going to go where x is in the original definition of the function. So my f of a plus h is going to be equal to 4 plus 3. Now that 3 needs to be times the entire a plus h, so here it's very important to put some parentheses. So we have 4 plus 3 times the quantity a plus h. And then again, since all of x is being squared in my original function, we want to square all of a plus h. So my parentheses here around that a plus h in both spots are very important. So we're going to work on simplifying this. The first thing we want to do is distribute that 3. So we have plus 3a plus 3h. With this term, the first thing I want to do is square it. So I'm going to be subtracting off a squared plus 2ah plus h squared. For my next step of simplification, I'm going to distribute this minus sign to all three terms. So I have 4 plus 3a plus 3h minus a squared minus 2ah minus h squared. Fantastic. So now we have both the pieces that we need for the numerator of the difference quotient, and we're going to subtract them. So we want to look at what does f of a plus h minus f of a look like. So we rewrite down that f of a plus h, which is 4 plus 3a plus 3h minus a squared minus 2ah minus h squared. And we're going to subtract off f of a. Since I want to subtract off all of f of a, again, I want to make sure I put some parentheses in there. So inside my parentheses, we'll go 4 plus 3a minus a squared. Now we'll go ahead and distribute that minus sign to all of my f of a to get that f of a plus h minus f of a is equal to 4 plus 3a plus 3h minus a squared minus 2ah minus h squared minus 4 minus 3a plus a squared. To further my simplification, I'm going to look at what kind of common like terms there are in this expression. I see that for the constant terms, there's a plus 4 and a minus 4, so those will cancel out. We have a plus 3a and a minus 3a, so those will cancel. We have a minus a squared and a plus a squared, so those as well will cancel. So the expression here that I have is 3h minus 2ah minus h squared. And now when I'm going to look to further simplify this, I see that all of these terms have an h in them. So let's factor it out. Once we factor it out, we are left with h times 3 minus 2a minus h. So there's the numerator for the difference quotient. And now what we want to do is go through, erase this above business so I can fit in what the difference quotient will be. So I want to take that numerator and I want to put it all over h. So let's get some space. Now that that stuff is gone, we'll look at this, and so we're going to take f of a plus h minus f of a all over h. So we have that expression, that h times 3 minus 2a minus h, and that's all over an h. Well, this is fantastic because there's further simplification that we can do. In the numerator, there's a product with one of those terms being an h. In the denominator, there's an h. And so now I can cancel. I can do that specifically because in that numerator, that was multiplication right there. So what I'm left with for my final answer is 3 minus 2a minus h. And doesn't that look nice and simple?